Good day, yogis. I'm Betsy, and today we'll be practicing a 75-minute level 2-3 class. So I'm assuming that we have a good amount of yoga practice in our background and are looking for a little bit of a challenge. Let's move into warm-ups first. And really, before we get to the warm-ups, we need to center. Take a comfortable seat. From that seat, nod your chin down to your chest. Close your eyes. Allow yourself to move inward. I've often heard the refrain, yoga is not a work out, it's a work in. Work inward throughout this time on your yoga mat today. What feeds you best? Move the right ear over towards the right shoulder. Let the shoulders themselves relax. Walk the left hand out to the side and notice that slight difference. A little more extension, a little more stretch. And then we add the right hand on top of the head for a little bit of a tug out to the side. Return the hands back down to your thighs and chin to the chest. Ever so slowly to the other side. Left ear to the left shoulder. Nice big exhale and let the shoulders themselves relax. Walk the right hand out. Add the left hand on top. Bring the hands back. Chin down to the chest. And lift the head. Open the eyes. I forgot to mention before we get started, you don't really need any extra props today. The block can always be handy for you as you'd like. But I do want you to have access to some wall space. So if that's possible, set yourself up near a wall. We'll use it for getting into some strengthening for handstands today. Okay. Come on over to all fours. Set the hands under the shoulders and the knees underneath the line of the hips. And do cat and cow. On an inhale, pull the chest forward and through. Eyes up, tailbone up. On an exhale, press down through the hands and your knees, round your back, drop the head. And just keep going a few times through here. You can find your own pace. Just moving the spine up and down. If you need a little more side-to-side movement, take that in as well. I am recording this practice early in the morning. Probably my favorite time to practice. I get up when it's still quiet, the household hasn't otherwise started moving around, and have the freedom to slowly work into a practice for myself. When is your favorite time to practice? It might change through the days, through the weeks. I think as we turn inward, that's important to note. Okay, let's change to downward facing dog here. Shake the head a bit, yes and no, and then pedal out the feet. Look forward for a moment at your hands. Make sure they're outer shoulder distance apart. Press down through your thumb and your first finger, a little more than the rest of the hand. Take your feet now as wide as your sticky mat and lift up to the tips of your toes. It'll feel like you're wearing high heels, like really, really tall there. So keep the heels lifted, but bend the knees. Still straighten the arms. Squeeze the tips of the shoulder blades in towards each other. So think about the tips of the shoulder blade wings. Squeeze them in, nice and secure on the back. Then press through the hands to get more length. Send your butt higher into the air. So all of this awesome stretch and length in the torso, we want to keep that. But slowly start to straighten the legs and send the heels closer to the ground again. The heels don't have to touch the ground, they're just getting closer. Maybe they do touch. Stretch full. And then take the knees down, child's pose. So knees a little bit apart, big toes together. Stretch the arms out long in front of you. Come up to fingertips. Lift the forearms, the elbows, the upper arm bones to the sky. And then walk the hands over to the right side. When I have more than 60 minutes to practice, I like to really draw out this opening piece, the warm-up of the practice, if you will. Just feels so nice. Walking across the center over to the second side. Let the body, the breath, the mind all slowly work in. Let the right shoulder and the right hip get heavier down towards the floor here. And then come back to your center. Come up to all fours, back into downward facing dog. And now step the right foot forward to your low lunge. 1, 2, 3 steps. Keep going until the knee lands right over the line of our ankle, fingertips in line with our toes. Lift the hips a little bit higher than we think to so that you can straighten your back leg. Not only straighten the back leg, but firm the muscle to the bone. Pull the back heel forward over the toes so you get a good stretch through the foot as well. And now take the right hand up to the sky in this revolved lunge. Bring the right hand down to the inside of your foot and spin the left heel to the ground. 2 flat feet. If you look down, we want to line from the front heel to the back heel. Down dog lunge. Walk your hands out towards the front left corner of your mat. Press both feet actively down and away from one another, even as you squeeze the upper inner thighs a bit towards each other. Keep descending the front knee wide over the middle of the foot. And then walk the hands back in, come to your low lunge. And place the right ankle over your left thigh. Bend the left knee until you can sit into the hip. Point your right knee out to the side like a figure 4 shape here. Suki dog. Suki Rendrasana in the legs, downward facing dog, and the overall shape of the body. Step the right foot down, back into downward dog. And let's do the second side. Step your left foot forward in between the hands. Feel free to use a helping hand to get it there. Same actions. We want knee over the line of the ankle. Fingertips coming about in line with that front toe. And then to give enough strength into the pose, we lift our hips high enough to make the back leg straight. Tone the thigh muscle. Pull the back heel forward over the toes for a good stretch through the foot. And keep extending. Lift the left hand to the sky, so revolved lunge here. Couple of breaths. And then change, left hand to the inside of your foot and spin the back heel down. So again, 2 flat feet, heel to heel in alignment. From there, I do want you to have more weight into the back leg than the front, especially as you add the arms and walk the hands out towards the front right corner. I mentioned on the first side to make sure this knee is not falling in, that we're widening out. The way to actually make that happen is not to just yank the knee out. Think of the top of the left glute, right at sort of where it would imagine attaching to the top of the pelvic bone. You want to drive that down and underneath you. And as we draw from the top of the butt down to the bottom of the butt, it should broaden out through the inner thigh and knee there. And then change to Sukhi Rendrasana dog, Sukhi dog. Left ankle over your right thigh. Bend in the knees to get into the legs. Big hip opener right here. Two feet to the ground. And bend the knees and walk your hands backwards to your feet. Keep a bend in the knees. Hang over your body. Let the head relax here. It's often the last thing to relax, so we have to remind ourselves. Hold onto your elbows, ragdoll pose, maybe sway a little bit side to side. Some days I like the sway, some days I just want to hang heavy here. Today I just want to hang. Certainly a big piece of that work in. Keep asking yourself, what do I need in this moment? Roll up, roll the shoulders up and back a couple of times, and then roll the shoulders forward and down a few times. Okay, we'll travel back up to the front of the yoga mat. Two rounds of sun salutation A, 2 rounds of sun salutation B. From the top of your mat, stand in mountain pose. I like my feet just a little bit apart these days. You can take them all the way together or as wide as your mat. What makes you feel steady, full, right here? Inhale, lift the arms up to the sky. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Extend from the hips out to the crown of the head. Step back to plank position, top of that push-up. Nice, slow and controlled. Lower down to the mat, Chaturanga Dandasana. Then pull the chest forward and through for Cobra. Press through the hands and feet to help you lift to downward facing dog. Take several breaths in downward facing dog. Look forward in between the hands and then exhale and step or jump to the front of the mat. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, stand up, reach the arms to the sky. Bring the palms together. Great center, great intention. Send it back out. Inhale, lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Step back to plank. Lower to your mat. Cobra, peel the chest up and through. Change to downward facing dog. And in a level 2-3 practice, I assume that each of you knows the general movement here of the sun salutations and will take the different variations that work best for you. That's the mark of a more advanced student. You do the changes on your own. Look forward to your hands, step or jump to the front. It's not the pose itself getting more complicated. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, stand up, reach to the sky. Exhale, palms together, center of the chest. Right into sun salutation B. Bend the knees, sit into their thighs. Utkatasana, chair pose. Exhale, forward fold, touch down. Inhale, half lift. Step back to plank. Lower down. Your back bend. Cobra, maybe up to up dog now. Downward facing dog. Step your right foot in between the hands. Spin the back heel down. Warrior one. Bring your torso upright. Keep hips and shoulders towards the front. Lift the arms overhead. Press through the back outer heel into your big front big toe. Lower the hands down, step through plank. Lower down, cobra. Up dog is the straight arm, straight leg position with everything off the mat except for hands and feet. Downward dog. Step the left foot through, spin the right heel down. Warrior one. And if your flow moves faster or slower, just like we started, that's fine. Step back, plank position. Lower. Cobra or up dog. Downward facing dog. Pause and down dog. The breath is big and moving, but a little more pause in the outer form. Look in between your hands. Step or jump to the front of the mat. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, forward fold. Bend the knees, sit into your thighs, Utkatasana. Stand up. Bring your palms together, center of the chest. Take a breath in and a breath out. One more time. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Step back to plank. To the mat. Back bend here. Downward facing dog. Warrior one, step the right foot forward. Come upright, arms to the sky. A little quicker transition here. Lower the arms, step back to plank through your flow. Second side, left foot forward, right heel down. Come upright, half a breath, warrior one. Lower the hands, step back to plank. Lower the body, pick up your chest. Cobra pose. Downward facing dog. Stay here, breathe here. Look in between your hands. Step or jump to the front of the mat. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, forward fold. Chair pose. Stand all the way up. Bring palms to the center. If it feels okay to you, close the eyes here. Maybe let yourself sway the weight a little forward and back in the feet. Take notice. Long, steady warm up into a more heated flow of the sun salutations. How are you responding? How are you drawing in from this big outward movement? Okay, release the hands. Give everything a little bit of a shake. So this is the point where I want us to move to a wall. If you don't have a wall handy, I will walk you through some different stages that you don't need a wall for, okay? So if you have a wall, we're gonna take our mat, short side. I'm gonna go right in between these guitars. Short side against the wall. I know many of you watching this probably have practiced with me in the studio for the longer classes, for the 75-minute classes, and I do this wall work pretty often. So we start in all fours and just do cat and cow. The wall work is meant to give us a sense of where we're going when we're upside down in a handstand, and really more than anything, to build the muscle memory and the muscle strength towards handstand. So just a little cat and cow. And then find the neutral spine and look about a foot in front of your hands. Think navel, pull it up. Lengthen the tailbone. So I'm going to turn to the side. In terms of the pelvis, we can rock forward and back, right? That's what the cat and cow are giving us. And we want to find that nice neutral position in which the tail is lengthening behind us. And it should take some abdominal strength to just stay and hold there. Okay, you can release and then stand back up. Stand facing the wall. As you stand right against the wall, place your hands at your hips. Okay, hip height with fingertips at the wall. And then walk straight back until you're in as much of an L shape in your body as possible with this bend in your knees. Again, I'll show you this from the side, and this is exactly what you're doing if you don't have a wall. Lengthen arms out in front of you. Look straight down in between the legs, in between the knees and toes. Do your best to recreate that all fours, nice lengthened spine. Steady and strong in the belly. Legs can go straight, though they don't have to here. And walk yourself back upright, back into the wall. Okay, so that's our first step, and you can always come back to that, especially because it's unweighted in the hands and wrist. So if you need sort of a up and down in between. The next thing we're gonna do is to sit. Stretch your legs out so that your feet, again, touch the wall. I've got straight legs, feet against the wall. Take the hands and mark right at the length of your hip. Okay, keeping that marker of where your hands are, you go back around to all fours. The name of the game here is straight arms. If you are not practicing against a wall, you're gonna do these same postures, but full on your mat in downward facing dog. And you're working in strength and endurance for straight arms, strong abdomen. All right. For those against the wall, lift your knees up away from the mat. In this little bear crawl position, we should have our toes on the wall. Our toes on the floor, but our heels on the wall. Keep the arms straight, keep the knees bent, and send your butt closer to the wall. So I'm making my belly, my chest come right to or close to the thighs. You're in this little bent knee, downward facing dog. Again, rule of thumb, keep and make the arms straight. From here, progress to bring your shoulders over the line of your wrist. Still got a bend in my knees. Press down through the thumb and the first finger a lot. And you can be recreating these shapes even if you're not against a wall. Nice, strong and steady. Stay here with me for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower it down. Keep a marker of where your hands are. Just kind of notice the length that you are. Okay, because we're going to need to come back. Off of your hands, like prayer hands, but then inverted, sway the wrist back and forth. Just a little bit of relief, and then you can go all the way around either directions. So now we have two options, at the wall, hands at the wall, or our L shape with the hands down. Do that again. So we come down, we set our mini downward facing dog, move the shoulders forward over the back of the wrist. Okay. If you are here with me and progressing, you walk the feet as high as you can up the wall. So take one leg and take it as high as you can, like your legs are in a split, and then reach the other foot to it. Remember, straight arms the entire time, press down through the inner hand.
Keep the legs lifted. No banana backs, so don't let your butt reach into the center. You've got to lift it up towards the sky. Keep the lift, and then walk it back down. 2 feet to the mat, knees down. Sit back on your heels. Interlace the hands, flip the palms, lift up. Give yourself a little bit of room and space. We'll try 2 more progressions here today. So you have anything that came before to go back to practice, or you keep progressing up with me. All right, so we find our all fours, toes on the floor, heels at the wall. Lift into your baby downward facing dog. Move the shoulders forward over the line of the wrist. From here, strong, steady in the core. Walk 1 foot up, and you can watch it, and take the other foot to meet it. To progress, walk the feet down the wall to the line of your shoulders, line of your hips. They should all be somewhat stacked in the same line. Slowly start to straighten the legs. So we end up with our hips right over the line of the shoulders, feet about the same line as the hips. And then walk it back down. Again, just pause upright. Notice how you feel. So much energy, so much rush. We're in an inverted shape, of course, and asking for strength, for empowerment here. Yeah? What's going to feel best for you for the last time? Is it holding downward facing dog full on your mat, feeling and coursing through the strength in your arms, steadiness in the belly, the stretch through the legs? Is it the L shape at the wall where you can really enjoy finding that full L shape in the body? Maybe it's the progressions that we're working with together with the hands on the floor. Okay, so you're going to take your pick. If you like the progression work, I've got one more exciting thing for you. Instead of facing outward, I want you to turn back inward, and let's see if we can kick our legs all the way up to the wall. That word kick, it's in there, but try to extrapolate and think more of a pull the legs up. Let's see what that gives us so that we're not knocking ourselves through the wall. We want to use this empowerment, the strength, to pull us up into the handstand. So if that option is for you, turn around, place about 1.5 handprints away from the wall, and then do downward facing dog. Look forward to your hands, bend your knees, walk it in just slightly. You can already kind of move back and forth a little bit, see where the line is, shoulders right over the wrist, that kind of thing. Okay, so one leg up in the air, like 3-legged dog, and then the bottom leg is going to be your helper. We've got to get the foot off the ground somehow, right? So we try little jumps. And then can this top leg pull you up right up against the wall? So bigger hop, but let the top leg be the trajectory to get you there. The other leg follows, heels together, and push through the hands. Look anywhere that works for you. Squeeze in the butt. Full extension here. Stay in your pose, your end game for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and lower it down. Sit back on your heels.
Okay, I hope we're feeling good here. We're going to take a switch again. Move your mat back to where you were, away from the wall. I do think if handstands are important to you, the safest way to practice is with a very consistent practice. We did this today. It's a little fun, little infusion. And if you're like, hey, I know that this is something for me that I want to work on, it's got to be a daily routine. And you go through those same little stages. There's lots of other ways to work, but you work your way into the strength, flexion in the wrist, strength in keeping the arms straight, tone in the belly. It's really all involved. Okay, but for now we can kind of set it aside. Come back onto your mat. Tree pose, the Sanskrit is Vrksasana. The handstands that we did, the Sanskrit is Adho Mukha Vrksasana, meaning upside down tree pose. So for my mind's eye, I always like to do tree pose right after trying those handstands. Stand on your right foot, place your left foot in tree. Pull the left leg up above the knee. Place your foot onto your inner thigh and point the left knee out to the side and the toes straight down to the floor. So you're steadying the standing leg, foot into leg, leg into foot, while you open up and find a nice external rotation in the hip there. Take the arms up to the sky. Lift, lift, lift. Okay, release the arms, release the leg. Just find steadiness, find stillness. Second side. For me, it takes even more concentration after having been upside down. Replant yourself here. You can try arms together or hands together. Big, deep stretch through the side lengths of the body. Release the arms, release the leg. A little bit of a shake. Okay. Take a wide stance on your yoga mat. Point the toes straight ahead. Point the heels straight back. Extend the arms out. Turn your right toes out and turn the back foot in just slightly. Triangle pose. Reach as far as you can to the right. Lower the right hand down to the inside of your leg or onto the leg and top arm up to the sky. Look up. Your top left hip, let it rotate open, open, open towards the sky. Extend your head out towards your right toes. Stand up. Turn the feet. Turn your right toes straight ahead and then a little bit in. Dig your left heel into the ground, pick up the foot, Rotate it all the way out. So it's not just the foot, it's the entire leg that gets the rotation. Just moving over. I like heel to middle of the back foot alignment in most of the standing poses. Heel to heel alignment is also nice. It gives you a little more space. Okay, second side. Reach, reach, reach. So you want all of the length first, and then take the left hand down, right arm up. To get the right hip to slowly roll up towards the sky, you got to press through the back heel, and at the same time, it's really that front leg that you're pulling the sit bone down towards the floor, and that will affect the top side of the pelvis. Let the right hip open here. Come all the way back up. Okay, turn the feet parallel to one another. Extend the arms out in either direction. Big reach. Take the hands down to the floor and walk them forward until they're at the line of your shoulders. Bend your knees a little bit and load your legs. Make your legs heavy. Okay? Keep the legs loaded, but straighten the legs as much as possible. Bring the right hand out to the side and then up to the sky at a twist. Keep the hips as balanced as possible, so don't let your weight lean over to one side. Lower the right hand down. The hips sometimes want to shift with this. For the purposes of this practice today, I want you to keep the hips as balanced as possible. Don't let one side come up as you twist, okay? Left hand goes out. One way to make that easier is to keep some bend in the knees. And then lower both hands. Bring the hands to the thighs and come all the way upright. Heel toe the feet in. And shake out the legs a little bit. Okay, couple more standing postures. Take the feet wide again. Extend the arms out. Start the same way you did with triangle pose. Turn the back toes slightly in. Dig in the front heel, lift the foot, and turn the leg all the way out. So you already have the base in the hips and through the legs that we want. Warrior two. Bend the front knee. If you bend the front knee and it starts to roll in, you use from the top of the right cheek right now, right butt cheek down towards the floor, which will help open up the inner thigh, and you can sit deeper. Change to side angle, elbow to the knee, top arm, turn palm up towards the sky and reach up, 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 up and over. Want the arm to be back enough to kind of clear the space for you to turn the head up. Push through your back leg to help you rise back. Straighten the leg and turn. Second side, we're ready. Bend the left knee deeply. And again, top of the left butt down and underneath you to broaden out the inner thigh. If this back leg in doing that pops way forward and you feel as though you're shrunk down into the low back, you've got to start with the thigh back, create some space and room, and then slowly work through the front leg. Okay, side angle if you're not already there. And come all the way back up. Turn the toes. Heel toe it all the way in. Let the arms relax down. Come back to the front end of your yoga mat. Keep the right foot straight ahead and step the left foot back so that you're into a high lunge. Hips square. Torso upright. Lift the arms. Make an 11 shape. So turn the palms in. They're just straight overhead here. Keep everything that you're doing and spin the back heel down to the ground. It should draw open and back this left hip a little bit. Let that happen, but stay in the front thigh as well. Warrior one. Hinge forward. Lie your belly down onto your thigh and then drop the hands down. From here, look down at your feet. You want to recreate those same shapes, except make the back leg come in about a foot from where it currently is. So we'll have to lift the heel, hop it in a tiny bit, and go back to a straight flat foot. Now, straighten the front leg as well. Keep left hand on the floor or propped up underneath a block if you're working there. Right hand to the waist. Pull your right hip, so if you put your thumb into the crease of the right hip and pull it up and back, it'll help this big rotation in the pelvis. Reach your head further out in front of you. Okay, keep all of that length and add the twist, right hand up to the sky. Just like we did in that wide-legged forward fold, we just changed the shape of the rest of the pieces. Bring both hands back to your hips, press down into your feet. Come on up. Bend both knees and step forward. Yeah? Let's try the second side. So we're moving stage, stage, stage until we find ourselves into that twist. Working from the legs today. Sometimes we'll work this a little bit more and opening the upper back and shoulders. Today, we're taking the focus into the legs. Left foot stays forward. Step the right foot back. You often hear, as above, so below. We're kind of flipping that, as below, so above. So if we work to find good alignment and positioning in the legs and the hips, we're hoping that translates into opening and strength in the shoulders and upper body today. Arms overhead. Okay, keeping as much as you can, set the back heel down to the floor. You'll have to let go, if you will, of opening in the hips just slightly. Right hip will draw back here. Hinge forward, belly down onto your thigh, and then you can drop the hands down to the floor or underneath any height of prop. Okay, once you're here, look at the feet. Okay, I want to make these same shapes, but closer in. So I'll lift the back heel, scoot it in just a little bit, and set the back heel down again. Refirm. Strength, steadiness in the back leg. As you do that, press through your front big toe and straighten the left leg. Now I'm sliding the thumb of my left hand into the crease of that hip. Our tendency is to let the weight go down here, and that's why I'm letting the thumb do the work to lift me out. If I can put a little more weight and attention in the back leg, I'll have room to expand and lengthen through the torso. Now, left hand out to the side and add the twist. Keep trying to lift the left hip up, right hip around and down, and that will help you Get the rotation and the lift all the way to the fingertips. Release. Press down through the feet. Come all the way upright, little bend in the knees, and step it forward. Shake. Good. Well done. We're cruising along here in this practice. Yogi squat. Take your feet outer hip distance apart. Turn the toes slightly out. Keep your feet flat on the ground. Thumbs to your sternum. Give it a little lift here. And then squat. So you can lean forward, let your butt stick out. Take the elbows about down to the knees. We'll call that first stage. We're going level 2, 3, so we're going to drop it down lower. Keep the feet flat on the floor. You know, your own best teacher, you're working inward to keep your butt higher if your feet start to come up. So if the heels start to lift, you just go back up. Take your right shoulder to the inner thigh. Look up, gaze towards the sky. Do this on the other side, slide the other shoulder. And then back to your center. Use your hands to catch behind you and have a seat all the way down to your yoga mat. Extend the legs out in front of you. Give it a little bit of a shake. Maybe a little windshield wiper. Okay. Take the right foot and cross it over. You're making this figure 4 shape here. Sit up really tall. Think back to when we were working all of those stages against the wall. This is similar to that. We're going to work through about 4 stages, and you take as many of those stages as is working in each side of the body today. Stage 1 here, sit up nice and tall in your figure 4 shape. Stage 2, lift the leg off of the bottom leg. 3, bring the foot back. So I'm pointing the right knee as much as I can behind me and lifting the right heel up. Think back to the pose before our squat and where your shoulder and inner leg were connected. And we're trying to make about that same line of connection here. Now I'm going to bring the right arm under and try to wear the leg. Clamp your leg over your upper arm bone and shoulder with the heel pressing down to the floor. Hands on either side. This is the last stage right here. Whole body is on the ground. We're getting used to this wrap of the top leg. And then release it and come out. Shake the legs. Okay, second side, so you cross the left ankle over. So if you had chosen the first stage, you should have been here for a good minute on that first side. If you say second stage and stop, then you stop here. The third is really the biggest difference, right? We're swinging way out to the side now. Left knee pointed behind me, like I'm trying to stamp my foot almost towards you, towards the video, but also a little bit higher. Okay, and then that leg shape should stay the same, and I'm just changing where my arm is. So I've set the foundation in the legs, and now I'm going to take the left arm under, try to help wear it like a backpack strap is what I always say. 2 hands on either side and squeeze in. Lift the chest as much as you can, even with that squeeze. Notice how much work here is done to keep the leg. You've got to keep squeezing the leg both hooked down and in, but also at the same time, the shoulder pushing out into the leg. So don't let it all collapse in on you. You've got to use from your wrist down into the, up into the upper arm bone to press it out. And then release down. It all gets a little bit of a shake. Okay. We're going to do that same thing, but from a lunge position. So if you come over to all fours and slide your right foot forward, pick it up into your low lunge. And now we've got to get our shoulder down and under the leg rather than the leg doing the movement, okay? So what can help to get our shoulder lower? Often it's getting our hips a little bit higher. So if you tilt the hips back upward and then crouch down and work your right arm underneath to the outside of the right foot. So ideally here, I've got my left hand, right foot, and right hand all in about the same line. Now remember, push your right shoulder out into your leg, but your leg in to your outer shoulder. That is the clamping action that we need, so much so that maybe you can lift the heel off of the ground and take the foot off of the ground. Squeeze it in, in. And then set the foot back down, unwrap your hands, come back around to all fours. Second side, swing your left foot forward. And you can do this keeping the back knee on the ground. So I'll show you that for the second side. Descend, shoulder down as low as we can. And then I like to use my left hand like a little horseshoe, thumb and first finger behind the left heel here to really try to dig the shoulder underneath. Two hands, one foot, all in the same alignment, and then pop up the back knee. Roll to the toes, forward enough, towards straight arms. They don't have to be all the way straight, but you're thinking about straight arms like we practiced in handstand, and then pull that heel up. Set it down, unwind. Give yourself a break. Sit back on your heels. Take a moment. Roll the shoulders up and back. So we're getting that hook of the leg that's necessary for a one-legged crane pose. Eka Pada Bekasana Dui. And eventually that leg that's hooked in is going to stretch back out. We'll get into that next. Yeah? Okay. So these are the last pieces of the puzzle for pulling this together today. Go back, all fours. Swing the right foot forward. And if your body, mind is telling you at this point, I'm not ready to up level, I'm ready to start to down level, here's your option. You're in low lunge, and you come down, and you stay right here in forearm lunge, humble warrior. If you're up leveling, we're taking that right arm underneath and creating those same pictures that we already did. Right heel in. Okay. With the right foot flat on the ground, so you know kind of where that's moving to. Let's actually change and work in the back leg. We're gonna hop the back leg in until you can set your left knee on the upper left arm and kick the heel in. Now, hips go down like they were trying to descend to the floor in your yogi squat to get the right foot up. Once that's happening, stretch your right leg out in front of you, big hamstring stretch there.
Come out of the pose as gracefully as possible. Rejoin down to the forearms and humble warrior. Sit back, give yourself a break for a moment. Stretch the arms out. So harness the courage that we did from our wall work into strengthen the core, strengthen the upper body. The rest of our practice has been working in to opening and finding movement and space in the hips and lower body. So we're putting it all together here. We've got one more side for our one-legged crane pose. Okay, left foot forward. And again, it starts in humble warrior. You stay here in humble warrior or up level to work into that one-legged crane pose. So for the one-legged crane pose, horseshoe of the left hand, work your left shoulder under. And it's not like one spot-on movement, right? So you're like slowly working in, you're finding all the little nooks and crannies. It's not just one way to get there. I like to try that rock in first. Can I get the lift? Okay. Feeling pretty steady about where the front leg is going, then change focus to this back leg. Hop, hop, hop it in. Bend the right knee so that it has to set on the upper right arm bone. And this is like getting into the hips, and it's this drop of the hips next, like you do in a squat that's so important. Pull the left heel up, and then try to extend the left leg out. Breathe, 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 and drop it all the way down. We go back to the humble warrior for a breath or two. And then push your way out. Take the arms out in front of you. As you sit back on your heels here, arms wide. Feel the openness. Take the hands all the way to the floor behind you and lift the chest a little bit more. There's something about slowing down and really inching through the practice that I think makes it so intense, and that intensity in a very good way powers through the day, through the week. I'm just kind of taking it in. I hope it gives you the same. Hold on to the elbows up. That's why this asana practice is never dull to me. Like, how amazing that we have the opportunity and the health to work this way, so physically in the body, and knowing that I can do that, what other things are possible as well. Let's lie down onto our back. And all of that came from within. Pull the knees into the chest, give it a good squeeze. Okay, let's reap the rewards even a little bit more as we go into this cool down here. Soles of the feet on the ground. Take the hands, brush them close against the heels. Press down into your feet, your shoulders, and your head, and lift the hips up for bridge pose, Setubandha Sarvangasana. Interlace the hands underneath you and walk the shoulders a little more up and in. Squeeze the butt a lot, lift through the hips. Press through your big toes as much as anything else. Breathe. Release the hands, lower the hips. Cross your right ankle over the left thigh, point the knee out to the side, and drag your left knee in towards your chest. You can wrap the hands through, of course. I'm leaving mine out to the side. That feels like enough right now. And then cross your right knee fully over the left and lower both legs. Supine twist with the eagle legs here. Let's bring it back to the center. Soles of the feet back down, and then cross left ankle over the right knee, point the knee out to the side, and pull the right leg in. Okay, cross the left knee all the way over, eagle legs, and then drop the legs to the right. If eagle legs and the twist is too much, you just do eagle legs, or you untwist the legs and just do the supine twist. Come back to the center. Unwrap, give yourself another tight, tight squeeze. Okay. Yogis, here, I want you to add in 2 more minutes of movement. Maybe it's 2 poses held for 60 seconds each. I'll show you those options, but know that this is your sort of free time, if you will. So I'm going to do a supine Baddha Konasana here. It soles the feet together, knees out to the side. Sometimes lying down doesn't feel great in this position to me, but sitting upright does. That could be another option. So 2 poses or 1 pose with 2 sides. Last little bits of pose making and movement prior to Shavasana. My second action is to squeeze one leg in and give it a stretch. And to balance out the sides. All right. Then find a settled position. Don't cut this off. Give yourself 2 more minutes. Settle in, whether it's lying back in Shavasana or a seat of meditation. If your mind resists this stillness and this release, give it something to do. The easiest something to do, count the length of your inhale and your exhale.
Slowly come back to movement. Rise back to a good position, a good seated position. I feel fully worked in. I hope you do too. And celebrate this movement. And the closing sound of Om, bring the palms together, the thumbs to the sternum. Greeting to the heart of you. We'll sing the sound to Om. Empty out the breath. Breathe in. Namaste. Okay, have a wonderful day, have a wonderful week. Thank you for practicing.